Morning. Out here again, just a-working. North Korea issue. Hopefully they'll be able to get this thing resolved without any actions having to be acted out. But there still is the very real chance of bad situations happening. Now, they've been talking nuclear war with nuclear missiles, or depending on who you ask, it might be a nuclear. Never understood that. Some people say nuclear, some people say nuclear. I don't know. However you want to pronounce it. It could potentially happen. Now, it's easy to fall into that mindset of, no, there's not really anything I can do because that's out of my hands, and there's not really any way I can prepare for it, so if it comes, bring it on. Which, you know, it is easy to get into that kind of mindset because it's a big deal to think about. There are a few situations, a few things you can do to get ready for that. But one of them is if you get on, the one website that I know has it is Amazon. And, or if you just Google Potassium Iodide tablets. Potassium Iodide. And what it does, it comes in pill form, tablet form, and from there, I'm not an expert on the stuff, but I managed to come across some that I was given by another guy, and so I kind of looked up to see just what it was. I had never even heard of it, and the way I kind of found that it was explained is it's an anti-radiation pill that they said when radiation moves in, it'll get into your body and it goes into your thyroids and starts causing problems. Well, what potassium iodide does is you take the tab and it goes in and it clogs up your thyroid to capacity, fills it up so that when the radiation goes in, there's no room for it, nowhere for it to go in your thyroid. And so at least I really don't know much about radiation. I don't know if it soaks into other parts of your body or what, but they said at least for your thyroid, it clogs it up so that the radiation can't get in. And that way you are further protected from the radiation. Now on Amazon, it comes in those little blister packs of 14 pills, and it was somewhere between $7.50 and $8 for a pack. And the dosage on it, it said for an adult of more than 150 pounds that you take one tablet a day, and that's all you need. And then for adults that are people that are less than 150 pounds, you take half a tablet a day, and that's all you need. So then, you know, since there's 14 pills in the pack, for a full-grown over 150 pounds, that's a 2-week supply. Well, if you're under 150 pounds and you take half a tablet, that one pack is now a month's supply, or close to it. And then for kids 1 to 3, they also take half a tablet, I think is what it said. And you know, if they're not old enough or not able to swallow a pill yet, they said you can crunch it up and you can put it into, you know, their food or into some chocolate milk or something like that, to where they don't know that they're taking it, but they just drink whatever that is, and they're covered. And then even children under a year old, I think they said if they take a quarter tablet, they're covered. So then that 14 pack, if they're only taking a quarter of a tablet, well, that now becomes a 48-day supply. And so it goes a lot further. So I stocked up on some of those, and that is one thing that you can do to further protect yourself physically against radiation that may come along. Now, if you want to know more about radiation, you're going to have to do some more research on your own, looking up other prepper channels, or look around online to see how it moves, how long it stays, what it does to your body, how it gets in, and different ways to protect yourself against it. That's not something I've looked into a whole lot. So there's that. And then say even the effects of an EMP, which is where if a nuclear device goes off up in the atmosphere, it sends out this EMP stands for electromagnetic pulse, and it sends down all this electrical energy that just goes and it fries electronics. First time I ever saw anything or even heard that term was on that old show Future Weapons, and they drove a car through a simulated little arch that created an EMP, and car was working, they drove through, car died, because every electronic thing in that car was fried. Car wouldn't run. And you know, if that goes off up in the atmosphere, it can cover a large area, and it can fry. I've heard everything from it'll fry anything electronic, big or small, even some stuff that's protected. And then I've also heard another video saying that it will affect only large items or only small electronical circuits. Small electronic circuits. So I don't know about that either, but they say one way to protect your electronics from that is to build what's called a Faraday cage. And basically what it is a sealed metal container with some kind of liner that keeps your electronics from touching it. Some say it needs to be grounded, some say it doesn't. That I don't know, because you hear a few different things. But the idea of it is that it's a sealed metal container, whether it's something simple or something more complex, is that it surrounds the electronics that you put in it and acts as a barrier. So as that magnetic or electric field comes down, all that energy, it will hit your container and move around the container and then continue on. Say you just have like a small metal bucket lined with either foam or lined completely with cardboard, something to separate your electronics from touching the container. And it will hit that container, move around it without touching or sending any of that energy to your electronics, and then move on. Some people they'll use an ammo can, an old surplus ammo can. Some people use a small metal bucket. I've seen people build wood-framed like cubes or containers, and they'll cover that in a copper mesh, which is like a fine copper wires all kind of woven into a fabric, and it closes up completely. And the way that you can test that to see if it's completely sealed and protected from any outside anything, make sure there's no gaps in your plan, is you can take your cell phone and lay it down in there, close it up, and then try to call your cell phone. And the way that you'll know that it works is the call will not go through, because that container will be shielding your phone from any signal coming in, which means it should theoretically be protected from that energy. Or take a small handheld radio and set it in, turn it on, set it in there, close it up, and if it's just static, that means that it's no longer getting a signal. So there are a few small things you can do to try to protect both yourself and your equipment. Say because the cell phone won't do much good if you put it in there anyway. You can probably still maybe use some of the apps that are on it, but as far as the towers and all, which should be theoretically would be fried, so it can't send or receive a signal. But if you have handheld radios, walkie-talkies, whatever you want to call them, and you put those in there, then they should be protected from that field of energy that comes down. And since cell phones and communications would then be fried, you can pull out your walkie-talkies and you've got a way to at least talk from one person to another. Or if you have a bunch of them, hand them out to your group. You all agree on a channel and maybe a backup channel. That way you all can communicate within your group, or be able to kind of scan through the channels to find other people out there and either make plans with them for different information that people have heard, different things that are happening in different areas, so that you can know what's coming or kind of what the situation is outside of your immediate zone, or be able to listen in just to see what everybody else's plans are. Because if you're scanning through channels and you hear somebody say, okay, we're going to go in and we're going to hit this store and we're going to take everything we can find, well, then you know to stay away from that area. So I hope that helps. Potassium iodide, it's not expensive. You can find it probably at any prepper store online. If there's a prepper store, like an actual store in your community, they either will have it or can tell you where to get it. They might be able to give you more information about it. And that would be an awesome place to go if you're a new person, because all of us people in the prepper community are happy to pass on our knowledge, or can tell you somebody, point you in the direction of somebody that can answer that question better than we may be able to. It's a big, helpful community that are all willing to pass on information to help others. Don't worry about being, I'm new to this, I don't want to sound stupid. Just ask a question. We're more than happy to answer it and try to help you out any way we can. So if you're just getting into it, or if you're on the fence of whether I should I get stuff together or not, I don't know how to go about doing it, how about to start it, what to look for, what to start with, kind of the order of things that I should get stuff in, just get a hold of one of the YouTube channels. There's plenty of people on there that can answer questions. There's plenty of videos on how to start, what to get. There's different reviews on different things for what's good and what's just some kind of novelty crap that won't do you any good. So hopefully that helps some people, and we can get more people out there that are ready to jump into it and be more self-sufficient. So I'm gonna get on back to work. Y'all be good.